Alright, you guys, so the PlayStation Showcase did not deliver where we wanted it to deliver on like the big games that we wanted to see. You know, we wanted to see what Naughty Dog's working on, what Sucker Punch is working on. I get it, I'm with you. But the moping and moaning and groaning time is over. Let's start dissecting each trailers, the things that really stood out and the things that kind of didn't really stand out. Kind of just have a different takeaways besides what the showcase showed us. And I feel like this is where things get really exciting. Before we get into this video, do me a favor and like the video. If you guys like the video, please consider subscribing, as it does help me out tons. And with that, let me not waste any more time. Let's get right into this video. The first game I really want to talk about is Marathon. Now, when Bungie was acquired back by PlayStation, I wasn't really too interested, just because the Bungie I knew was the Bungie that developed Halo. And when they moved on to Destiny, I wasn't a fan of Destiny. It didn't play like Halo. I wanted more Halo from Bungie. But I get it. People move on and they move on to their next thing. And then they did Destiny for a couple years. And now there looks like they're moving on to their next thing, which is Marathon, which is kind of a throwback for them. So Marathon was actually the game that they worked on prior to Halo. And this is kind of like where they got their start and where a lot of their roots come from. So I'm very interested in seeing what this is, but it definitely went away from my brain for a little bit until I saw this IGN behind the scenes documentary on Marathon and the creation behind Marathon, and I just got super excited for a lot of reasons. So first things first, let's kind of dive into what the heck Marathon is, just because I feel like a lot of us, when we heard the name Marathon, we had no idea what the heck to expect. It didn't look exactly like Destiny or Halo. It looked a little different, but definitely felt Bungie. But again, a lot of us didn't play Marathon back then. We didn't know Bungie until Halo came out or Destiny came out. So I kind of did a little bit of research just to find out exactly what the hell Marathon is. So this is a game that was developed back in the day for like old Mac computers and stuff like that. And it's an extraction shooter. And for those of you guys who don't know what an extraction shooter, if you ever played things like The Division or even Rainbow Six Extraction, that's what these type of games are. But if you've never played an extraction shooter, essentially what it is you and a group of people. In this specific case, it's going to be 4v4. So you and three other people kind of build out a loadout, bring whatever you can in your pack, go onto a specific map where there's a bunch of online people playing together, and then you kind of like take a bunch of loot that's all around the area, or you take loot from like each player. You can do it by a couple of ways. Things like if you kill them, then you can take their loot, or even in this specific situation, I know one of the creators were mentioning how she downed an enemy, took their loot, and decided not to kill them. So again, they're definitely focusing in more on the actual like extraction and loot collecting than they are focused on like the KD or stuff like that. This gets me really interested because me and three of my brothers specifically always kind of play games like Call of Duty together, or we're always looking just for something that we could always play together. So this will definitely fit the bill of something we need, something that we want to play together, because honestly, playing Call of Duty, it's fun, but it's definitely mindless, and it needs something a little bit more engaging, something that kind of takes it to the next level. And that's what extraction shooters are. And I know a lot of people don't like it because it's not really like who can kill the most, it's more like who can just play the game the best. So it's definitely very different than I think what Bungie does with like things like Halo and Destiny. Alright, the next reason why I'm super excited for Marathon is because of Bungie. Now, Bungie, whether I like Destiny or whether I love Destiny, all that is aside, right? I could understand, objectively speaking, that Destiny is a great game and it lasted for so long. I feel like Bungie is a development team that knows how to make these kind of living, breathing games that keep players engaged for a really long time. So I think that's really exciting to see that they're going to be coming out with another one and seeing if they can kind of redo their success, and maybe even go beyond their success. Another thing Bungie does really well is like their gunplay and their physics. I feel like whenever I played Halo, and why I fell in love with Halo was because it felt so different than literally any other shooter I've ever played at the time. Nothing felt like that kind of like spacey. All the guns were super accurate and just felt good. And it was just a different kind of vibe than I think a lot of the shooters were at the time. And I definitely felt that when I played Destiny as well. Obviously, Destiny has other issues as to why I didn't like it, but you definitely respect that Bungie knows how to make these type of games. They know how guns work. They know how physics works in games. And when Bungie puts their mind to something and really wants to do something, they do it, and they do it really well. And watching this kind of behind the scene trailer that IGN did, it just made me feel their like excitement. Like they were like so excited to release this game, and they had a bunch of like clips of them just playing the game. And I know a lot of that stuff a lot of times feels kind of staged or something, but there was something so raw and so genuine about this team developing this game. It just felt like I kind of want to be in that room and feel that. I wanted to play that and see what they're talking about. And I don't know, it was just very exciting. So definitely I trust Bungie to make this game. I trust that Bungie it's gonna take their time and release it right, and then when they do release it, they're gonna have a huge pipeline of things that are gonna keep players engaged for a long time coming. Here's the final thing that got me really excited for Marathon. It's the fact that they're releasing this on PC, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Xbox Series X and S. They're not holding this game back by a platform. PlayStation can't let Bungie like hold this just to PlayStation. They have like legal reasons why, which means that PlayStation spent so like X amount of money to acquire Bungie, not because they want these games to be exclusive, but because they understand the talent behind Bungie and how useful they are going to be in other sections of PlayStation, that they're willing and allowing Bungie to make this game for other platforms. And I feel like with multiple platforms comes a couple things. It comes the fact that it doesn't matter what your friends are playing on, you're all going to be able to play together. It means that there's always going to be a good amount of people playing the game because you have more people available to play with. All in all, Bungie's a very talented team that PlayStation has a lot of confidence in. They know that putting this game out on multiple platforms is only going to benefit the company and Bungie alike. And it's just really exciting to see a group of people that are so passionate about a project finally being able to release this project for, X amount of years that it's been gone. I feel like now is the good time that, they took their lessons learned from things like Halo, from Destiny, and now they're going to apply it to what is their roots, which is Marathon. And again, it's just such a heartwarming thing to see, especially because you don't really get to see that much that often. Like, I think a lot of times game developers are always kind of just coming out with the next big thing, and I feel like rarely do they ever circle back to their other things unless it's like a remake. But again, like, this isn't like a remake or anything. This isn't a reboot. This is just the game. They're still using that same name. They're just kind of picking up where they left off. Obviously, all of this is caveated by one big thing. We haven't seen any gameplay of Marathon. All this is just speculation. All of this is theoretical, hypothetical for us as like the consumer, because we haven't actually played it. We haven't actually seen any actual gameplay. All of this is just what people are saying. So again, we could see the gameplay and it plays nothing like what Bungie promised us. We saw that happen with things like Redfall and stuff like that. So again, hoping that the gameplay matches whatever Bungie swears it's gonna be, hoping they can live up to the caliber that we hold them to. This game should be great. They did say they're gonna go dark. They're not really gonna mention anything for a good couple of moments, so we probably won't see this maybe till like end of next year, and probably playing this game like 2025. But hey, I'm excited for it. Those are all my final thoughts. Let me know down below if you guys are excited for Marathon or if you don't really care.